There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when something quietly begins to change. It doesn't arrive with loud celebrations or dramatic announcements. Instead, it starts in silence, deep within your mind and soul. You begin to notice that the same things that once drained you no longer have the same power. The same negativity that used to shake your confidence now feels strangely distant. This is the first whisper that your rise has already begun. Many people think transformation happens overnight, but the truth is far more mysterious. Real transformation begins internally, long before the world sees the results. Think about a seed planted deep in the soil. For weeks or even months, nothing appears on the surface. Yet beneath the ground, the roots are spreading, growing stronger, preparing for the moment when the plant finally breaks through the earth. In the same way, chosen ones often grow in secret before their rise becomes visible. You may have recently felt a strange mixture of emotions: confusion, clarity, excitement, and even loneliness. That's not a coincidence. When your consciousness begins expanding, you start seeing the world differently. Conversations feel different. Energy around people feels different. You may even feel like you no longer fit in the places where you once felt comfortable. That discomfort is actually a sign of elevation. If this message resonates with you, pause for a moment and ask yourself something honestly. What changes have you noticed within yourself lately? Have your priorities shifted? Have you started protecting your peace more than before? Share your experience in the comments because your story might inspire someone else who is going through the same awakening. And if this message is speaking directly to your spirit, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Mirror of the Soul. Because this channel was created for people exactly like you, people who feel that something greater is unfolding in their life. One of the most painful parts of rising is watching pieces of your old life fall apart. Relationships fade, opportunities disappear, plans you once believed in suddenly crumble. At first, it can feel like everything is going wrong. But for many chosen ones, this collapse is not a punishment, it's preparation. Imagine trying to build a powerful new structure on top of a weak foundation. It would never stand for long. The universe often removes unstable foundations before placing something greater in your life. That job you lost, that friendship that ended, that opportunity that slipped away. Each of those moments may have been clearing space for something aligned with your true path. History is filled with examples of people whose greatest rise came after their greatest fall. Many leaders, innovators, and spiritual teachers experienced years of rejection and hardship before the world finally recognized their purpose. What looked like failure was actually shaping their resilience, wisdom, and character. One of the clearest signs that your rise has already begun is when you stop living for other people's approval. For years, many chosen ones unknowingly shaped their behavior around the expectations of others: family, friends, society, or even strangers. But at some point, something shifts. You begin to realize that constantly trying to please everyone is exhausting. No matter how hard you try, someone will always misunderstand you or criticize your choices. And suddenly, you reach a moment where you quietly decide that your peace matters more than everyone's opinion. This shift is incredibly powerful. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you start listening to your inner voice. That voice has been guiding you all along, but it was often drowned out by the noise of expectations and judgment. Psychologists often describe this stage as self-actualization, a phase where individuals begin living according to their authentic identity rather than social pressure. It's not rebellion, it's alignment. You're not trying to prove anything anymore. You're simply becoming who you were meant to be. One of the most misunderstood parts of rising is the loneliness that comes with it. When you begin evolving mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you may notice that fewer people truly understand you. Conversations that once excited you might now feel shallow or repetitive. This doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It simply means your perspective is expanding. Growth naturally changes your environment. Just as a child eventually outgrows old toys, a rising soul often outgrows old patterns, habits, and sometimes even relationships. Many chosen ones experience a season where they feel isolated. Friends drift away, and it may seem like nobody truly understands your thoughts anymore. But what feels like isolation is often a transition period. It's the space between who you used to be and who you're becoming. One of the most surprising parts of your rise is discovering strength that you never realized existed inside you. For years, you may have doubted yourself. You may have believed that you were fragile, unlucky, or simply not strong enough to handle life's challenges. But something strange begins to happen when you are pushed to your limits. Instead of breaking completely, you bend and then you rise again. Many chosen ones only recognize their true strength after surviving situations that should have destroyed them. Think about the nights you stayed awake worrying about your future. Think about the moments when you felt completely alone, when nobody seemed to understand what you were going through. Yet somehow, you are still here. That alone proves something powerful. You are far stronger than you ever believed. Strength doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's simply waking up again after a painful day. Sometimes it's choosing not to give up when everything feels heavy. Sometimes it's deciding to grow even after being hurt by people you trusted. These quiet acts of resilience slowly build an unshakable character. Another strange sign that your rise has already begun is the sudden attention from people who once ignored you. Some of them may even begin observing you more closely, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with silent resentment. This can feel confusing at first, but there is a deeper reason behind it. When someone begins evolving, their energy changes, confidence grows, boundaries become stronger, and people who once underestimated you start realizing something unexpected. You are no longer the same person they once knew. The version of you they were comfortable with is disappearing. Throughout history, many individuals faced criticism and skepticism before their greatness was recognized. When someone rises, it often challenges the comfort of those who stayed the same. Your growth can unintentionally expose the insecurities of others. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt that people reacted to you differently than before? Maybe they listen more carefully when you speak. Maybe strangers seem drawn to your presence. These subtle reactions can be signs that your energy has shifted. Energy is something we rarely talk about in everyday life, yet everyone feels it. You can instantly sense when someone is angry, anxious, calm, or confident, even if they say nothing. Human beings naturally pick up emotional signals from others. When chosen ones begin rising, their internal world becomes more balanced. They start protecting their peace, thinking more clearly, and focusing on growth instead of negativity. This internal alignment slowly changes the way others perceive them. One of the most exciting signs that your rise has begun is the sudden appearance of opportunities you never expected. These opportunities don't always look dramatic at first. Sometimes they appear as small chances, a conversation, a new connection, or an idea that suddenly feels possible. Many people believe success happens randomly, but in reality, preparation and awareness play a huge role. When you begin improving your mindset and focusing on growth, you naturally start noticing possibilities that you previously ignored. Imagine walking through a crowded street every day while looking down at your phone. You might miss beautiful buildings, interesting people, or unexpected chances simply because your attention was elsewhere. Life works in a similar way. When your awareness expands, your ability to recognize opportunity expands as well. Chosen ones often experience a moment when things start aligning in surprising ways. A job offer appears after months of struggle. A mentor enters their life unexpectedly. A small idea grows into something meaningful. These moments feel like coincidence, but they are often the result of internal growth meeting external timing. When you look back at your life honestly, you may begin to realize something shocking. Many of the struggles you once hated were actually preparing you for who you are becoming today. At the time, those moments felt unfair. You might have asked yourself questions like, "Why is this happening to me?" Or, "Why does my life seem harder than everyone else?" But hindsight often reveals something different. Those experiences were quietly building your strength. Think about the lessons pain teaches that comfort never could. Betrayal teaches you discernment. Failure teaches you resilience. Loss teaches you appreciation. These lessons are not easy, but they are powerful. They reshape the way you see people, situations, and even yourself. Many chosen ones grow up feeling misunderstood or out of place. While others seem to move through life easily, you may have faced obstacles that forced you to mature earlier than expected. Those obstacles shaped your awareness. They forced you to develop emotional intelligence and a deeper understanding of human behavior. At some point during your rise, a powerful realization appears quietly in your mind. You are no longer the same person you used to be. The things that once excited you may no longer interest you. The habits you once tolerated now feel uncomfortable. Even the way you respond to challenges begins to change. This realization can feel both empowering and unsettling. On one hand, you feel proud of the growth you've achieved. On the other hand, you may feel disconnected from the version of yourself that once fit easily into certain environments. Growth often creates this strange emotional contrast. Think about how children eventually outgrow their old clothes. At one time, those clothes fit perfectly, but over time they become too small. The same thing happens with identity. As you grow mentally and emotionally, the old version of yourself simply no longer fits your reality. You may notice that you now respond to negativity with calmness instead of anger. Situations that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause and think more clearly. These small changes are powerful indicators of internal transformation. Another powerful sign that your rise has begun is the strengthening of your intuition. You may start noticing that you can sense situations before they fully unfold. Sometimes you feel an unexplainable comfort around certain people and a quiet warning around others. Intuition is often described as the mind's ability to process subtle information quickly and subconsciously. Your brain constantly collects small details, tone of voice, body language, patterns of behavior, even when you are not consciously analyzing them. Over time, these signals combine to form a strong inner instinct. When chosen ones begin evolving, they become more aware of these internal signals. Instead of ignoring their feelings, they begin trusting them. This trust allows them to make better decisions and avoid situations that could harm their peace. Many people ignore their intuition because society teaches us to rely only on logic. But the most balanced individuals learn to combine both. Logic helps you analyze facts, while intuition helps you sense hidden truths. Sometimes, when you reflect on your life deeply, you begin to notice something almost mysterious. Certain events that could have gone terribly wrong somehow turned out differently. Maybe you avoided a dangerous situation at the last moment. Maybe an unexpected delay prevented a bad outcome. These moments often feel like silent protection. Many chosen ones report experiencing strange coincidences that later seem meaningful. A missed opportunity turns out to be a blessing. A painful rejection leads to a better path. At first, these moments appear random, but over time they form a pattern. This doesn't mean life will be free of hardship. Everyone faces struggles and uncertainty, but many people feel that their journey contains moments of guidance that appear exactly when they need them most. These moments encourage a deeper level of trust in the journey of life. Instead of fearing every obstacle, rising individuals begin seeing challenges as part of a larger process. They learn that sometimes the path is being adjusted in ways they cannot yet understand. One of the most powerful signs that your rise has already begun is the strength that is forming inside your mind. In the past, small problems may have overwhelmed you. Negative words from others may have stayed in your thoughts for days, but now something is different. You're beginning to notice that your mind is no longer as fragile as it once was. Mental strength doesn't appear overnight. It develops slowly through experiences, challenges, and reflection. Every difficult situation you survived added a small layer of resilience to your character. At the time, you may have felt like those moments were breaking you, but in reality they were shaping you. Think about how athletes train their bodies. Muscles grow stronger by being challenged repeatedly. The mind works in a similar way. Every obstacle you faced forced your mind to adapt, analyze, and grow stronger. What once felt impossible slowly became manageable. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when they realize something important. The path they are meant to walk may not look like everyone else. Society often encourages people to follow predictable routes, certain careers, certain lifestyles, certain expectations. But deep inside, you may feel called towards something different. Walking your own path requires courage because it means stepping into uncertainty. Others may question your decisions. Some people may even try to convince you to return to a safer or more familiar direction. But the truth is that authenticity rarely follows a crowd. History is filled with individuals who chose a different road despite criticism and doubt. Their courage eventually changed industries, inspired movements, or helped others discover their own potential. But before recognition came, they faced misunderstanding and resistance. In the early stages of life, many people feel the need to constantly explain themselves. They defend their choices, argue their opinions, and try to convince others to understand their perspective. But something changes when you begin rising. You start realizing that not every situation requires a response. Not every criticism deserves your attention, and not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Silence, once seen as weakness, slowly becomes one of your greatest strengths. When you stop reacting impulsively, you gain something valuable: control. Silence allows you to observe people more clearly. You begin noticing their intentions, their behavior patterns, and their emotional reactions. This awareness gives you wisdom that constant talking never could. There is also a certain power in calmness. When someone remains composed while others react emotionally, it often shifts the dynamic of the situation. Your presence becomes steady, grounded, and difficult to manipulate. One of the final signs that your rise has truly begun is when you stop feeling the need to justify your existence to everyone around you. For many years, you may have explained your choices, defended your beliefs, and tried to make others understand your intentions. But over time, something shifts inside your perspective. You begin realizing that not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Some people view life through completely different experiences, values, and expectations. This realization brings a powerful sense of freedom. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to convince others, you focus on living your truth with quiet confidence. Your peace becomes more important than winning arguments. People who are comfortable with themselves rarely feel the need to explain every decision they make. They trust their judgment and allow their life to unfold naturally. Those who truly support them will understand without constant explanation. At the beginning of your journey, many people may not have taken you seriously. Some doubted your dreams. Others questioned your decisions or quietly assumed you would eventually give up. At the time, their words may have hurt more than you admitted. Being underestimated can leave deep emotional marks. But something fascinating happens when a chosen one begins rising. The same people who once ignored your potential begin noticing subtle changes. They see your discipline, your calmness, your focus. They notice that you're not the same person they once dismissed. Sometimes they won't say anything directly. Instead, they observe from a distance. They watch how you carry yourself now. They notice how you respond to challenges differently. What they once viewed as weakness now appears as strength. For a long time, You may have felt unsure about your purpose. You might have questioned your direction, wondering why your life seemed different from the predictable paths others were following. But as your rise continues, something remarkable begins to happen. Clarity starts forming. Purpose rarely appears as a sudden revelation. Instead, it reveals itself through patterns. The struggles you faced, the lessons you learned, and the passions that keep returning to your mind slowly connect like pieces of a puzzle. You may start noticing that certain topics inspire you deeply. Certain goals feel meaningful in a way that goes beyond money or recognition. These signals are often hints pointing toward your true direction. Many chosen ones discover that their purpose involves helping others in ways they once needed help themselves. The pain you experienced becomes wisdom. The lessons you learned become guidance for someone else who is still struggling. One of the most beautiful stages of your rise is when life begins aligning in unexpected ways. After years of confusion, struggle, and uncertainty, you suddenly notice that certain pieces of your life are starting to fit together. Opportunities appear that match your skills. People enter your life who understand your vision. Situations that once felt chaotic begin making sense. It's as if the lessons you learned earlier are now preparing you for the opportunities arriving today. This stage can feel almost surreal. For a long time, you may have wondered whether your efforts were leading anywhere. But now, you begin seeing evidence that every experience, both good and painful, contributed to where you are today. Alignment doesn't mean life becomes perfect. Challenges still appear, but now you face them with greater confidence and clarity. Instead of feeling lost, you feel guided by a stronger understanding of yourself. If you've made it this far in the video, there is something important you need to understand. Your rise is not a distant future event. It has already begun. The changes in your mindset, the lessons from your past, the strength you've built, all of these are signs that transformation is already happening. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for a dramatic moment that proves they are moving forward. But real growth rarely looks dramatic. It looks like quiet discipline. It looks like learning from mistakes. It looks like choosing progress even when nobody is watching. The version of you that once doubted your potential is slowly disappearing. In its place, a stronger, wiser, and more self-aware person is emerging. That person has survived challenges, learned powerful lessons, and gained clarity that many people never develop. But recognizing your rise is only the beginning. The next step is stepping fully into it. That means trusting your growth, continuing to improve, and believing that your journey has meaning even when the path ahead feels uncertain. Now I want to hear from you. Do you feel like your rise has already begun? What signs have you noticed in your life that tell you something is changing? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else who is watching this video right now. And if this message resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to Mirror of the Soul, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it today. Because sometimes one message, one realization, or one moment of clarity is all it takes for someone to recognize that their rise has already started.